I wanted to talk about today was around success and fulfillment and the difference between them and how to have both. Because sometimes we gain success in a certain area, maybe in job or career, and still don't feel fulfilled. What happens? What's actually going on there? And I would say that a couple of ways to define success and fulfillment. Success perhaps is more external, right? So it could be things, it could be the job, it could be financial, right? Like it's more external and perhaps more measurable. And I would say that fulfillment is more internal, a certain level of satisfaction, contentment within ourselves and feeling the feeling of fulfillment, right? Like feeling fulfilled. So perhaps these are reasons where we get confused with the external and we chase the external. And a lot of time, the process of chasing the external success, when it's not aligned to certain things like values, which I'll come to in a minute, can cause us to have the success perhaps at some point and then lacking in a sense of fulfillment. So let's look at it. Success, you could say, is achievement, recognition, financial, promotions, status, and things like that. Maybe society can see it, people can measure it, you can measure it. Maybe it's a bit more tangible. And fulfillment, you could say, is a deep sense of purpose, joy, alignment, which actually I've been talking a lot about recently, around alignment and values, and a sense of peace within yourself, right? Like just a contentment within yourself. And sometimes we make this mistake of chasing success and then we have the success and not feeling fulfilled. 3 things, because we love 3 and 5 and 7 and 10. So 3 things. The first one, a trap that we can fall into, which can lead to feeling unhappy or unfulfilled, is this chasing of, it's like the moving goalposts. It's always chasing the next thing. And on one level, obviously it's good to be growing, expanding, learning, and reaching for different and more things. And on another level, this constant moving of the goalposts just keeps it, okay, I've hit that, but then I still feel empty inside. Now I've hit this next level of goals and outcomes, and I still feel unfulfilled, unsatisfied within. Awareness of that. And I think this filter of external, internal to successful fulfillment and the definitions of those can help. Second one I would say is success without purpose or an alignment to our higher values and purpose. And recently in the Align event, I talked about this and we did some exercises around it. And the short version of it is, if you're not clear on what your higher values in this lifetime and your higher purpose in this lifetime is, then it's an opportunity to connect with that. And actually, I'm going to teach a shorter version of that workshop on Wednesday next week around purpose and going deeper into the area of purpose. So it's going to be the 3rd of our Awaken Masterclass series. Come and join me on that. So working out what matters to you in your life so that the action is not just busyness, right? Like filling up time and space and taking your energy, which a lot of time can lead to things like burnout, but rather there is a sense of why and what matters and having the actions aligned. So the more on a micro level, day to day, week to week, to years and decades, right? Like our longer plans, our bigger plans in our life, and the actions aligned with our values and our purpose. So not just on a micro, but a macro level. And then the third thing that kind of is a trap, right, that causes us to feel unfulfilled or unhappy is seeking external validation. So whether it's like they're saying it to you or it's you're doing it to yourself because it needs to look a certain way, it needs to come across a certain way so that you get the stamp of approval, the validation, which underneath it, from an inner work perspective, is what we're seeking love, right? Or like that part of us that doesn't feel enough or worthy is always going to try and prove itself enough and worthy. And we know that it was never in question. If you dabbled with this work at all, it's never in question, and it never was, and it never will be in question whether you're good enough, whether you're worthy, whether you're loved or lovable, because we are whole. We are already complete just as we are. We are perfect in our imperfections, right, as human beings, just the way we've been built. So this like setting is a slight variation to the first one I mentioned. It's like we set certain kind of markers, and our worth is based on that success. So therefore, this lack of fulfillment that we would feel, because whether you hit it or not, if you don't hit it, you don't feel good enough. If you hit it, you still don't feel good enough because you need more. What do we do about it? So again, another 3-step part on how to deal with it and how to have both success and fulfillment. The first part will be actually looking at what does success mean to you, right? And I'll add to that, why is it important to you? So what does it mean to you, and why is it important to you? And then working out what are your higher values. And we did this exercise in a line, but I'll give you the brief version here. What's important to you? What values are important to you? And why are they important to you? And then aligning the actions. I say actions, but also the bigger things, the bigger projects in our life, the bigger things that we get involved in to our values. And shifting from like this doer, achiever mode and balancing it with fulfillment mode as well, so that you're getting stuff done. And most of us are very good at getting stuff done, but we may or may not feel that level of contentment, that satisfaction, that joyfulness within us, right? The fulfillment. And having a balance between the achieving and achiever, the doer, and also letting yourself take in the joys of who you've become along the journey of achieving that thing, and the fact that you have achieved it, right? If in fact you have, and if you haven't, then so often, I talked about this the other day in the community, we have certain markers like, oh, I've got, like in the age of social media, I've just got 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes or whatever it is, and actually it doesn't mean anything. And perhaps a different, more useful measure might be something that you have control of, which I talked about in the Bhagavad Gita. Measure it on your actions, because we don't have control of our results, but we have authority over our actions. But, one of our members the other day talked about, she did 1,000 posts, and I say, yeah, that's a measure of success, that you've actually taken that level of action. And sometimes we measure it by the likes and all of that, by the views of the video or the thing that you put out. But actually, you cannot control that. But what you can control is the steps that you take. So aligning the external to the internal. Sometimes we tie our happiness, our fulfillment to this non-existent, made-up markers, right? Like that we cannot ever reach. Or even if we did reach it, it just doesn't mean anything anyway, because it never meant anything. Therefore, we can never reach any level of fulfillment. So when you balance your actions to values and purpose, which I'm going to go deeper in purpose on Wednesday, there's one more Awaken Masterclass workshop. So come and join me on that. I'll put the link out soon. Your actions, what is success to you? Why is it important to you? And then what are your values? What's important to you? What is your higher purpose? And then aligning your actions to your values and your purpose. And then having measures that actually for success, right? And for fulfillment, not just for success, that they both are actually being measured. And so often fulfillment, right, is something that is internal. So how do you actually measure that? Is it based on something that you have no control of? Or are you placing your markers, your measures for happiness, for fulfillment on things that you have control of, like actions that you could take, rather than results after the actions, which is outside of our control? So that's my message for today. If you want to learn more about purpose, come join me Wednesday evening, 6:30, same time. Be our third of the Awaken Masterclass series. And of course, on the 28th of Feb to the 2nd of March, I'm going to be doing our next Awaken program, virtual, and you're invited to join. We're doing the ultra early bird right now. So if you're on the mailing list, you would have got that. If you didn't, then just message me, and one of the many